Have you ever watched someone die because you stayed silent? Felicia Parker has. And when she saw the same deadly signs in a stranger, a powerful CEO who could crush her with a phone call, she faced an impossible choice: speak up and risk everything, or stay quiet and live with another death on her conscience. What she scribbled on a coffee-stained receipt at 2:47 a.m. would either save a life or destroy her own. By morning, armed security would come for this shy girl. The question is, was her bravery inspirational courage or a terrible mistake? The city's financial district pulses with power and ambition, where glass towers scrape the clouds. 43 floors below, wedged between parking garages, a flickering 24-hour diner serves the forgotten people of the night shift. This is where Felicia Parker, 26 years old and nearly invisible, wipes down tables at 3 in the morning. She's mastered the art of disappearing, avoids eye contact, whispers, instead of speaking, exists in the margins. Her co-worker Jenna handles the customers. Felicia handles the watching. And what she's been watching lately terrifies her more than anything: a man in an expensive suit slowly killing himself one sleepless night at a time. Michael Reed arrives after midnight, tie hanging loose like he's trying to escape his own success. CEO, self-made billionaire, untouchable. But Felicia sees what his boardroom never does: how his head drops forward between sips of coffee, how he gasps awake like a drowning man breaking the surface, how exhaustion clings to him despite the designer cologne. She's witnessed these symptoms before, in a hospital room that smelled of antiseptic and goodbye, in her mother's labored breathing, the machines beeping slower than flatline, the doctor's devastating words, "If we'd caught the sleep apnea earlier." Her mother's last sunrise began with, "Tomorrow we'll call the doctor." But tomorrow never came. Felicia keeps her mother's cardigan folded in her locker, still catches herself reaching for the phone to call her. The guilt of staying silent lives in her chest like a stone she can't swallow. On this particular night, Howard, a 78-year-old regular with kind eyes, shuffles in, carrying something unusual in a cloth bag. He sets it on the counter like a cherished pet. "This CPAP machine saved my life," he announces to no one in particular. "Severe obstructive sleep apnea nearly killed me twice, once in a truck crash, once in my sleep. Without this, I'd be 6 feet under." Felicia's coffee pot freezes mid-pour. Her eyes drift involuntarily to Michael Reed, slumped at the counter, his breathing rough and uneven, stopping for terrifying seconds before restarting with a violent snort. Howard catches her stare and his expression shifts to recognition. "I'm only breathing because a young nurse refused to stay silent when she saw the signs," he says, looking directly at this shy girl. "Someone exactly like you. Promise me you won't let another one slip away." The pot trembles in Felicia's grip. She knows what courage demands. She also knows that girls like her don't reach across the divide into the world of men like him. But silence has already cost her everything once. This heartwarming story begins with a choice: risk everything to save a stranger or protect herself and live with the consequences forever. What happened next would transform both their lives in ways neither could imagine. Over 3 nights, Felicia documents what everyone ignores. Tuesday, Michael's forehead nearly touches his coffee cup as sleep ambushes him. Wednesday, his words blur when ordering. Thursday changes everything. Sitting upright, Michael stops breathing. 15 seconds. 20. Then a desperate gasp tears from his throat. The couple nearby exchange nervous glances but say nothing. Felicia's abandoned nursing textbooks still occupy her shelf beside unpaid bills. She remembers the chapter on sleep disorders from study sessions with her mother. The symptoms form a deadly checklist: loud, snoring, breathing cessation, excessive fatigue, morning headaches, impaired concentration. Michael embodies every warning sign. After her shift, she searches untreated obstructive sleep apnea mortality risk. The statistics swim through her tears. Stroke, heart failure, death during sleep. Her mother's death certificate read cardiac arrest. But Felicia knows the hidden truth. Undiagnosed sleep apnea destroyed her mother's heart. "He's dying," Felicia whispers to Jenna. "He just doesn't realize it yet." "Not your battle," Jenna says. "You can't rescue everybody. Remember what trying cost you." The memory surfaces, her mother insisting she felt fine. Felicia suggesting the doctor, then retreating. The crushing guilt of not pushing harder. Friday evening, Howard returns, a retired trucker whose hands still tremble from his accident. "Fell asleep doing 70 on the interstate," he shares. "My wife begged me to see a doctor. I kept postponing." His eyes grow distant. "Smashed through a guardrail. Woke up in intensive care with severe obstructive sleep apnea. My oxygen dropped dangerously, over 60 times nightly." He touches his CPAP bag. "This machine is why I met my grandchildren." His eyes lock onto Felicia's. "A nurse fought my insurance company and refused my discharge until I swore to use this device. She saw what I couldn't." He pauses. "You have that same look." "What if they refuse to listen?" Felicia asks. "Then you speak anyway," Howard states. "The guilt from trying and failing weighs less than never trying at all." Saturday night and 30 a.m., Michael appears worse than ever. Bloodshot eyes, sluggish movements. He orders black coffee, his third pot this week. 15 minutes pass. His head drops. His breathing stops. 10 seconds. 15. 20. He jerks awake with a violent snort, glancing around confused before returning to his screen. Felicia's heart pounds. Her mother's empty chair. Howard's demolished truck. All the tomorrows that vanish because someone chose silence. Her hand shakes as she writes on his receipt, "Sir, if you snore loudly, stop breathing during sleep, and feel exhausted, despite resting, please get evaluated for sleep apnea. It can be life-threatening, from someone who lost a loved one to it." "Don't do this, Flick," Jenna warns. "Wealthy people hate being told they're vulnerable. Or I'll save his life. Or he'll destroy yours. You can't heal what happened with your mom by rescuing him." Felicia's eyes blur. "You're right. I can't change the past." She folds the receipt. "But I can refuse to repeat it." She approaches Michael's table on trembling legs. "Sir, your receipt. And something I think you should know." Michael glances up, irritated. He accepts the receipt dismissively. Then his eyes catch the handwriting. He reads it twice. His expression transforms surprise, then something unreadable. He looks at Felicia, truly seeing her for the first time. "Thank you," he says quietly, the words carrying unexpected weight. He leaves the receipt folded in his jacket pocket. Felicia watches his car disappear. She has no idea if she's helped him or made a terrible mistake. But this time she refused silence. This shy girl just did something inspirational and terrifying, and the universe was about to respond. She thought that was the end, until security came searching for her the very next morning. Sunday morning, 6:47 a.m. Felicia counts her tips, $32 for 8 hours, when Jenna's voice cuts through. "Flick, don't panic, but we have a serious situation." 3 black SUVs idle outside. Private security with blank professional expressions. A tall man in a dark suit enters. Felicia Parker. His voice reveals nothing. She nods, her voice trapped in her throat. "Ryan Blake, head of security for Reed Enterprises. You need to come with me." She hasn't done anything wrong. Jenna steps forward. Ms. Parker isn't in trouble. Mr. Reed wants to speak with her. The words sound polite, but Steele reinforces them. Felicia unties her apron with shaking hands. He's angry. He'll sue. Have her arrested. Text me in an hour, she whispers to Jenna. If you don't hear from me. Every news station gets a call, Jenna finishes. The SUV's leather seats smell like wealth and power. Through tinted windows, the city transforms, leaving behind check-cashing stores entering steel and glass towers. They descend into an underground garage. Security scanners, biometric readers, an elevator that ascends so rapidly her stomach plummets. The doors open onto the 43rd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlook the city. Felicia, in her coffee-stained uniform and worn sneakers, has never felt more out of place. Ryan guides her to a glass conference room. Wait here. The door closes. Through the window, she can see her diner in the distance, a tiny speck of flickering neon. A woman enters mid-30s, immaculate black suit, carrying a tablet like a weapon. Her eyes assess Felicia with contempt. Olivia Grant, executive assistant to Mr. Reed. Everything discussed here is confidential. If you've contacted media or attempted to exploit this situation, there will be legal consequences. Are we clear? I haven't told anyone, Felicia stammers. How convenient. A waitress with partial nursing education suddenly decides to diagnose our CEO. And you expect me to believe this is pure altruism? Olivia leans forward. Let me be direct, what's your price? Price, I don't want money. Everyone wants something. You wouldn't be the first person to manufacture concern to approach a powerful man. Tears burn behind Felicia's eyes. My mother died from undiagnosed obstructive sleep apnea when I was 23. She ignored symptoms because she didn't want to appear weak. When doctors finally understood, her heart was too damaged. Her voice fractures. When I saw Mr. Reed gasping for air, I saw my mom. I couldn't stay quiet again. Olivia's expression doesn't soften. If word leaked that our CEO has a sleep problem, competitors would weaponize it. Investors would panic. Our stock would. Would any of that matter if he's dead? Felicia's question hangs in the air. The door opens. Michael Reed enters. He looks better than at the diner, showered, shaved, but exhaustion still clings to him. His eyes find Felicia's. Ms. Parker, I read your note multiple times. I apologize if I overstepped. I couldn't not say something. Olivia believes you're running a scam. I'm not, I swear. The words tumble out desperately. I know I have no right telling someone like you what to do with your health, but I've watched this disease kill someone I loved. When I saw you struggling, I'd rather you think I'm crazy than read your obituary. Silence stretches. Have you told anyone else? No, nobody. He exchanges a look with Olivia. I haven't slept properly in 2 years. I attributed it to stress. But after your note, he pauses. I researched sleep apnea. Every symptom matches. Perfectly. Olivia stiffens. Sir, we discussed postponing this until after the product launch. Olivia. One word silences her. Michael's eyes don't leave Felicia's. You genuinely believe I could just not wake up? It's not just snoring, sir. Your brain and heart are desperately fighting for oxygen while you're unconscious. Your body is suffocating night after night. Michael's face pales. He remembers nodding off while driving the car, drifting. The near miss he dismissed as fatigue. This moment of honesty shifts everything. He asks Olivia to schedule an immediate sleep clinic appointment. Olivia still eyes Felicia with distrust, but something has changed. The gate has cracked open. What Felicia didn't know was that her honesty had just set in motion events that would put her directly in the crossfire. 4 weeks pass. Felicia returns to her night shifts expecting never to hear from Michael Reed again. She did what her conscience demanded. The guilt weighs less now. Then Ryan appears at the diner at 2 a.m. He orders coffee but leaves it untouched. He completed the sleep study, Ryan says. Severe obstructive sleep apnea. His oxygen dropped below 80% more than 70 times in one night. The doctor said he's playing Russian roulette every time he closes his eyes. Relief floods through Felicia. So he's getting treatment. Ryan's expression darkens. He was supposed to. They fitted him for a CPAP machine, told him to reduce his workload immediately. He pauses. He's ignoring everything. The relief curdles into dread. What? Why would he? Because Olivia convinced him that showing weakness before the product launch would be catastrophic. Because he's convinced himself he can power through until the IPO closes. Ryan's frustration is palpable. He's surviving on sleeping pills, caffeine, and pure stubbornness, and it's going to kill him. Can't you force him to listen? I'm security, not his conscience, but you. Ryan fixes her with a meaningful look. He listened to you once. There's a gala tomorrow night. He specifically requested you be there as his guest. Ryan slides a black envelope across the table. Be there. Maybe you can talk sense into him before it's too late. Felicia borrows a simple black dress from Jenna. Ryan meets her at the entrance, escorts her through security positions, her backstage. The ballroom glitters with wealth, investors in custom suits, press cameras flashing, a live stream projecting Michael's presentation worldwide. Billions of dollars hang on tonight's announcement. Michael takes the stage to thunderous applause. He looks polished, powerful, but Felicia sees what the cameras miss, the slight sway in his stance, the way he grips the podium too long, the sheen of sweat despite the air conditioning. He presents the revolutionary platform. The stock ticker climbs, green numbers rising. The audience leans forward, hungry for profits. Then Felicia sees it. The pause that extends too long, the unfocused look, the way he forgets his location mid-sentence. Michael's been working, he says, then catches himself. We've been working. His hand goes to his temple. He tries to continue, but the words blur together. Backstage, Olivia's voice hisses, he's fine. Keep cameras rolling. But he's not fine. Michael's face turns gray. His breathing becomes labored, audible through the microphone. He grips the podium as the room tilts. I need a moment. Then his knees buckle. The microphone hits the floor with a shriek of feedback. Michael Reed collapses in front of 1,000 people and millions watching live. Chaos erupts. Gasps. Screams. Security rushes the stage. Olivia freezes, her face, white hands shaking, and Felicia runs. She doesn't think, doesn't hesitate. She pushes through. Security, drops to her knees beside Michael's unconscious form. His breathing is shallow, irregular. His lips are turning blue. Someone call 911. Her voice cuts through the panic. And give me space now. Olivia grabs her arm. You can't, you're not a doctor. Felicia yanks free. What if I don't try? What if I stay quiet and watch another person die because I was too scared to act? Tears stream down her face, but her hands are steady as she rolls Michael onto his side, loosens his tie, opens his airway. I couldn't save my mother. I refused to lose him too. Ryan appears, physically blocking Olivia. Let her work. Felicia keeps Michael's airway clear, monitors his breathing, talks to him gently. Stay with me. Help is coming. Just breathe. Paramedics arrive. They take over with practiced efficiency. As they load Michael onto the stretcher, One looks at Felicia. You kept his airway open. She nods, unable to speak. You probably saved his life. Another few minutes and we'd be talking about permanent brain damage. The waiting room smells like disinfectant and fear. Felicia sits alone on a plastic chair, hands still shaking. Ryan coordinates damage control. Olivia paces, her composure shattered. An hour later, a doctor emerges. He's stable, we caught it in time. She addresses Olivia. Mr. Reed experienced a severe apneic event combined with sleep deprivation and stimulants. His body shut down to protect itself. If no one had kept his airway open, we'd be discussing a fatal outcome. Olivia's face crumbles. She sinks into a chair, head in hands. I told him to wait. I convinced him treatment could wait until after the launch. This is my fault. I almost killed him. Felicia is too exhausted for anger, too relieved for judgment. Just grateful he's alive. But saving his life would turn out to be only the beginning of a transformation that would change everything. The doctor turns to Felicia. Are you the one who provided assistance at the venue? Yes. He's been asking for you. Room 314. Felicia walks down the sterile corridor on numb legs, her mind struggling to process everything. Outside Michael's room, she pauses, suddenly uncertain. What does a waitress say to a CEO she barely knows, but just saved from dying? She pushes the door open gently. Michael lies propped against pillows, an oxygen cannula in his nose, monitoring equipment beeping rhythmically. He looks smaller here, human-sized instead of larger than life. When he sees her, overwhelming relief floods his face. You came. I needed to know you were okay. He laughs, but it's hollow and self-aware. I'm a complete idiot. You warned me. The doctors warned me. And I thought I could outsmart my own biology through pure willpower. He looks at her with raw, undefended honesty. I'm the guy who built a company from nothing, who never accepts no for an answer, who believes limits are just excuses for weak people. And you know what? I almost died because I couldn't admit I was human, that I was wrong. Felicia sits in the chair beside his bed. My mom was exactly the same way. Stubborn, independent, didn't want to burden anyone. By the time she admitted she needed help, it was too late. She meets his eyes. But you're not my mom. You're still here. You still have time to make different choices. Michael's eyes glisten with unshed tears. The doctor said if you hadn't been there, if you hadn't known what to do, I probably wouldn't have made it to this hospital conscious. Maybe not at all. His voice cracks. You saved my life twice. Once with a note scribbled on a receipt. Once with your bare hands keeping me breathing. And I don't even know your favorite color. Green, Felicia says softly. Like spring leaves when everything comes back to life. A moment of profound vulnerability passes between them. Two people from opposite worlds connected by the fragile thread of mortality and the inspirational power of choosing courage over comfort. I'm making real changes, Michael says with conviction. Not just promises I'll break when things get busy again. I'm starting CPAP treatment tonight. I'm reducing my hours permanently. I'm restructuring the entire company culture around health and well-being, not just endless productivity. He pauses meaningfully. And I need your help to do it right. My help? Felicia's laugh is incredulous. I'm a night shift waitress who dropped out of nursing school because I couldn't afford it. You're someone who sees people, truly sees them when everyone else just sees titles and bank accounts. You're someone brave enough to speak truth to power even when your hands are shaking. You're someone who understands what my employees are going through because you've lived it every single day. His intensity returns, but it's different now, not the force of dominance, but of genuine conviction. I want you to help design a comprehensive wellness program for the entire company. Part-time initially while you finish your degree. We'll pay for your education, nursing, or sleep technology, whatever path you choose. You'll have an office, a real salary, respect. And most importantly, you'll have a voice that people will actually listen to. Tears spill down Felicia's cheeks. Why me? Why would you trust me with something this important? Because you reminded me that none of this, the company, the money, the power, the success matters at all if I don't wake up tomorrow morning. And if that's true for me, it's true for every single person in my company working themselves to exhaustion. He extends his hand across the hospital bed. So what do you say? Will you help me build something better? Something that doesn't require people to sacrifice their health for a paycheck? Felicia looks at his outstretched hand, thinks of her mother's last labored breath, thinks of Howard's crushed truck and second chance at life, thinks of every night shift worker grinding through exhaustion just to survive, thinks of the shy girl in the mirror who learned that staying invisible keeps you safe, but prevents you from saving anyone, including yourself. She takes his hand firmly. Yes, I'll help you. In that hospital room with machines beeping and morning light filtering through the blinds, two worlds that should never have touched created something new. A heartwarming partnership born from one person's refusal to stay silent when silence was easier. But there was still one crucial conversation, remaining one that would determine whether this transformation was genuine or just another beautiful promise that would fade with time. The diner looks identical, same flickering neon, same cracked vinyl booths, same mingled smell of coffee and midnight meals. But on the wall near the register, something new catches the eye, a professionally designed poster with bold letters reading, "Sleep saves lives, recognize the signs of sleep apnea." Howard suggested it after hearing the full story. The owner agreed immediately. Felicia works one shift weekly now by choice. The rest of her time divides between classes and her role at Reed Enterprises. She still wears the apron, sometimes still pours coffee with the same quiet care. Some things shouldn't change. Some roots need to stay planted. The bell above the door chimes. Michael enters carrying a bag that looks exactly like Howard's cloth, well-worn, containing a CPAP machine he uses religiously every night. He looks transformed, healthier. The shadows under his eyes have vanished. He moves with less frantic urgency, more genuine presence. He slides into his usual seat. Felicia brings him coffee decaf, now doctor's orders, and sits across from him. They've developed this heartwarming ritual once weekly. He comes to the diner not as a CEO, but as a man who almost died and wants to remember what saved him. The new wellness program launches company-wide next week, he says with visible pride. Mandatory sleep education for all employees, free health screenings, on-site CPAP fittings, reduced overtime policies, flexible schedules for night shift workers, mental health days that don't count against sick leave, nap rooms, everything. He smiles genuinely. Your ideas brought to life. All of them. Our ideas, Felicia corrects gently. You listened and took action. That's the part most CEOs never do. I had to learn through near death. He shows her his phone with recent news coverage. The stock initially dropped after his collapse, investors panicking, competitors circling like sharks. But then something unexpected happened. Employees started speaking up publicly, sharing their own stories of burnout, exhaustion, sacrificing health for productivity. The public response was overwhelmingly supportive. A CEO who admits vulnerability and actually changes course that became revolutionary. The door opens again. Olivia enters, hesitant, her usual confidence replaced with something softer. She asked to meet them here, neutral ground. Felicia tenses instinctively despite herself. Olivia sits down slowly. For a long moment, she simply looks at Felicia. Then, I owe you an apology. A real one, not a corporate-approved statement crafted by lawyers. Her voice is stripped of its usual ice. I treated you like a threat instead of a person. I questioned your motives when you were trying to save his life. I prioritized optics and stock prices over basic humanity. And I almost got the person I've spent 5 years protecting killed because of my blind spots. Felicia doesn't know what to say. She settles for simple truth. You were scared. I understand scared. Being scared doesn't excuse what I did to you. Olivia's jaw tightens with emotion. Michael put me in charge of implementing the new wellness program. He said if I'm going to protect him, I need to protect the whole person, not just the brand. He also said I report to you now. She looks Felicia directly in the eye. I deserved that, and I'll work to earn your trust if you'll give me the chance. It's not a fairy tale transformation. Olivia isn't suddenly a different person, but she's genuinely trying. That's enough for now. Ryan enters next, nodding at Felicia with something approaching friendship. Thought you'd want to know we've had 17 employees come forward for sleep apnea screening since the announcement. 8 tested positive. All 8 are in treatment now using CPAP machines every night. You're saving lives without even knowing their names. Felicia's throat tightens with emotion. This is what it feels like when silence breaks and something better grows in the space it leaves behind. Howard shuffles in for his usual dinner spots. The group grins wide. Well, look at this inspirational gathering. The shy girl and the CEO having coffee like regular people. Told you speaking up was worth it, didn't I? He winks at Felicia, pats his CPAP bag affectionately. Still alive because of people exactly like you. Michael stands, extends his hand to Howard respectfully. Thank you for sharing your story with her. You might have saved my life too. Howard shakes it firmly. Then we're all even. That's exactly how the world's supposed to work. But the most important moment was still approaching, the one that would show whether one person's courage could create ripples that reached far beyond a single life. Felicia walks into her first day of the final semester of nursing school, specializing in sleep medicine. Her textbook is new, this time paid for by a scholarship fund Michael created specifically for service workers pursuing healthcare degrees. On the inside cover, she's written her mother's name and the date she died. Not as a memorial to loss, as a promise finally kept. After class, she returns to the diner for her weekly shift. Michael's there in his usual seat, reading news on his tablet CPAP bag, resting at his feet like a trusted companion. The headline reads, Reed Enterprises launches industry-wide initiative, the National Sleep Health Coalition. 23 major companies have signed on. Thousands of employees will receive screenings, education, treatment. Lives will be saved by people who'll never know. A shy girl named Felicia Parker started it all with a coffee-stained note. Michael catches her eye across the diner and mouths silently. Thank you. Felicia smiles back. She's not invisible anymore. But more importantly, she's not silent. And neither are the thousands of people her courage inspired. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is speak up when your hands are shaking and your voice feels too small to matter. Sometimes a single note scribbled on a receipt changes everything. Sometimes the person everyone overlooks turns out to be the only one brave enough to see the truth and act on it. And sometimes kindness comes full circle in ways we never expect, but always remember. This heartwarming story proves that one inspirational act of courage can save not just one life, but thousands.